Good morning and happy Friday to you. Well, if you think of the markets as a ship with sails, then you can imagine that there's absolutely no wind right now. But having said that, that analogy is not entirely accurate. Let me qualify. So the Nifty 50 is absolutely flat as flat can be. An equal number of gainers, equal number of losers, and also a couple of stocks that are unchanged at this juncture. But the real action is taking place in the broader markets. We'll get to that in just a bit. Among the constituents of the Nifty 50, you have a few names right on the top. Divi's Labs, for example, that's gaining about 1.5%. Adani Ports is doing well. Coal India, ICICI Bank, IOC, all are doing reasonably well. And then you read down the list and you see that a lot of the stocks that are gaining less than 1%, in fact significantly less than 1%. You have Reliance Industries that is contributing to a certain extent today, 0.7%, and perhaps that is why the index is as flat as it is right now. Among the losers, you have the likes of TCS, which is, as you know, one of the heaviest weighted companies on the Nifty 50, losing about 0.9%, weighing down on the index. Eicher Motors, Britannia, Hindustan Unilever, Bajaj Finserv, SBI Life, all losing ground. Let's look at the sectoral picture then. Nifty Bank is actually gaining about 0.3% at this juncture. And you have auto that's completely flat. In fact, you had quite a few auto companies reporting reasonably good numbers for the month of June, indicating that quite a few of them are positive that the end of lockdowns will bring renewed demand. Remember, the wholesale sales that are reported by auto companies are essentially the number of units that move from the factory to the dealership. It's not necessarily a clear indication of retail demand. It is the anticipation of retail demand that you need to pay attention to as far as the auto companies are concerned. Certainly, the tractor segment is looking, or the farm equipment segment is looking particularly strong. Among the other sectors, you have the FMCG index that's losing about 0.3%. IT is looking a little weak, down about 0.6%. TCS, as I mentioned, is the top loser on the Nifty. And then the other sectors are all gaining. So Pharma is up about 7/10%. And you have the realty index is gaining about 0.9%. I mentioned that the real action is in the broader markets, and in fact, if you look at the broader market breadth, it's very clearly in favor of the advances, and that is reflective in the fact that you have the small cap index, which has been outperforming in the recent past, and in fact, it's outperforming both the benchmarks as well as the mid cap index. It's gaining about 0.9%, or rather close to 1% at this point. The mid-cap index is also gaining, but at a smaller extent, about 0.4% at this juncture. Now, what you have to bear in mind, it's likely going to be a period of consolidation for a lot of the large cap names, because they've seen quite a bit of a rally over the past month and a half, 2 months or so, and so possibly you could see quite a bit of profit taking kick in, especially for the counters that are at elevated levels, in fact close to record highs. You could see a lot of action in the broader markets, but in all probability there's going to be a wait and watch ahead of the earnings season. Remember, in a couple of weeks you will start seeing, or less than a couple of weeks in fact, you will start seeing companies report their earnings for the first quarter of this financial year, and that really is going to be the test, or it's going to give an indication as to how some of these companies have fared through the second wave of the pandemic, which a lot of people have said was not as damaging as the first wave, but certainly caused a disruption and inactivity. That's where I leave it for now in the morning, but of course over the course of the day you can tune in to ET Now to find out all the latest updates on the markets and everything else. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned to ET Now.